everyone, and welcome back to Naomi's Bookshelf for Bookmas Day 23. This is my yearly wrap-up. So all of these stats are going to only include January 1st to November 31st. I haven't read much in December, and I am not going to wait till the end to put this all together, as I do want to have it out for the 23rd, as I am pre-filming this a little bit in advance. So we're going to just go over the stats. I have my notebooks here, so I'm going to be reading them a bit. I actually have two notebooks here because I have a couple bullet journals. So we're going to just talk about what I read. I did find a pie chart that I can fill in, so I will be popping the pictures up here when it looks like appropriate. But we're just going to start with a few stats. Very nerdy. I'm sorry. So of the year, I read, so the numbers don't all match up entirely, but I did read 153 books between January and the end of November. And of those 53 books, I had 113 adult books, which does not shock me at all. 13 YA, which was surprising because I didn't think I'd read that much, which shows how little I read YA. And then 21 middle grade, which also was surprising, but that's due to me reading Little House on the Prairie, Percy Jackson series, like Heidi, a bunch of other things, which were all children's classics or children's books. Also, the Betsy Tacy series I counted as middle grade until I felt like they hit young adult, and then I changed them to young adult. So kind of my read-alongs helped with that. Of those books, we're going to talk about the genres now, so we're just going to be extra stats here. If you are not into that, it's okay, but this is for all of us nerds who, like me, just like to know the numbers. So of those, I had 11 sci-fi / fantasy, well, 10 fantasy and 1 sci-fi, so I decided to combine them, which was also higher than I thought. Then 45 mysteries / thrillers / suspense books, which was expected. I am a big mystery thriller reader. 23 romance books, which was a shock. I didn't, like, when I was tallying this, I was like, I read a lot of romance at the beginning of the year. And I am not a big romance reader, at least in the beginning of the year. Typically Christmas time, when it feels more wintry, but maybe that was January. I was still feeling the need. Then I read 10 historical fiction, which is a lot smaller than I thought it was. 19 nonfiction, which I also thought it's smaller than I thought it was. 29 classics. Now, to clarify this one, classics I know is not a genre. Classics is a time that it was written, and I read a lot of classics. I love classics in that form, but I'm also was like trying to figure out where I would categorize them in these different things, and most of those classics come from being Little House on the Prairie, Betsy Tacy series, where they're young children, like they're children's books, and I didn't know where to place them. So I might do a coming of age category next year if I do read more like that. But I'm not sure, because it's like, is it just literary or not? Let me know what your thoughts are of that kind of dilemma down below. I read 10 literary books, which are just women's lit or literature, which aren't anything extra. And that was my entire genres that I read this year. So I wasn't that diverse in my genres. I had read more in some things than I thought and less in a lot of things than I thought. But honestly, I'm happy with the fact that I read 153 books before the end of November, as my goal was 150. And last year I did 200 books total over the year, and I felt like that was slacking for me, but I'm happy I hit my goal. So those are those stats. Now I do have one more set of stats, which are fun. And those are the amount of pages that I read, and I'm gonna put a picture of this up here for you. So I tracked what I read each month and then totaled that all together. So by the end of November, I had read 41 pages, 41,329 pages, which is about 1,300 shorter than last year, but that's also last year's including December. So I'm not sure where that stands. Which is really interesting that I read a lot less. I think as of right now when filming, I am 9,000 pages less than last year, which is really weird to think about. I will be linking down below my Goodreads evaluation of the year, my year in review for Goodreads, so you can see basically everything, and my average star rating is actually really interesting. I had a pretty good year. I barely gave out any 2 stars and 1 stars. 3 stars were pretty, like, were somewhat okay, but I had a lot of 4 stars and 5 stars. And honestly, it was kind of shocking. My average rating of the year was 4.1 out of 5. And last year was only 4 flat, 4.0. So it was even higher a little bit than last year. So it was a really good reading year in spite of the lack of books compared to last year. Otherwise though, my stats are pretty boring. I will have better stats next year, I hope. I'm going to be tracking better. So hopefully it will all turn out well. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you love these stats videos like I do, and I'll see you tomorrow for the last day of Bookmas, day 24. Bye for now.